has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. So I tried to get network officials to show the footage. They refuse to show the footage of Carver High. When I start talking about the Bills game, he's in the other room watching golf and giving me the finger. Like over his shoulder, he watches golf. With one hand, he's making bets with his BetMGM app, betting on golf, in golf. They call it in golf betting. And then the other hand, he's flicking me the bird over the shoulder. And then they're like, Scott wants you to come in and talk about the Bills. Then he does double birds. Then he slams the door. And then we had to pay him $100 to come back and do the last hour of the show. He said, I want $100. And then he said he has to root for the Bills the rest of the season or I will never do the show with him ever again. So here he is. We gave him his $100 and a piece of shrimp left over from Lisi and Thanksgiving. We always like to leave shrimp in the fridge at the SportsGrid studios and just a little cocktail sauce. All right, Carver High, let's hear from your head coach. As you know, I'm now a full-time Bills fan the rest of the season, as agreed to in the loss and the bet that I failed to convert.
I need the 100 after Sanjay M just bogeyed 18 here at the American Express out at La Quinta. So we do need anything helps as we're trying to get past all of that.
I did drugs at La Quinta.
I did
Wait,
hear
are we
you
on
and
the air?
Warren. This is a tremendous place here, PGA West, with all of these courses
Great
out there.
place.
It's a tremendous place to be out in the desert. All right, so the Bills and the Chiefs, you and Warren were just talking about it. I know the refs are going to – I don't really care about – I'm tired of refs. I really am. We've been arguing about refs for years, decades, everything. I don't care.
Right,
if I win,
right.
you think I'm going to care about whatever bad call they made in the Steeler game in the wild card round? No, I'm not going to care.
You'll care if you get screwed on Sunday.
Of course I will, but that's why I don't care about what happened then, because I know that it's going to come my way too. Everybody gets screwed at some point.
They should put the flags away. Put them away.
That's all fine and good, and it probably is what's going to happen because they never throw flags on that other team either. That one that's coming into Buffalo on Sunday, they never get any flags either. So I'm sure, then just make it that way. Make it prison rules, a free-for-all. Just let everybody do whatever the hell they want on Sunday, and whoever survives wins. That's it. That's it. Prison rules this week. It'll be like with the longest yard right out there at High
Prison rules.
on Sunday. We welcome in our radio affiliates.
Shirts and skins. No rolls.
Thursday. Sirius XM 159 and Sports Byline. All right, here we go. The main event, the Bills and the Chiefs. Here is Bills head coach Sean McDermott. Of course, these teams know each other very well. Third time in 4 years. They are playing in the playoffs. And, of course, the Bills have gone to Arrowhead 5 straight times. They finally get him in Highmark. Here's McDermott.
You know, I think it's a testament to who they are as an organization and the success that they've been able to have and then sustain. It's a credit to their organization from top down, and including Andy and his staff, the Hunt family. And I just think overall that, you know, with where we've been able to get to, I think it's starting to say a lot about who we are and what we've been able to achieve and then sustain as well. So,
you can say it, okay?
You know, it's I think there's two good organizations and teams that have earned the right to be here.
Sure.
Well, the bottom line is this, is that the Bills fans are getting sick and tired of them not winning it with this guy.
Correct.
So at some point, there's got to be a lease on life. Win it all, or no one wants to hear anymore about how we're such a great organization. What they are is a constant flop when it matters most, and it's usually against this team they're playing. Now, they've been kicking their ass in regular season games, and it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Means absolutely nothing. Look, it obviously helped this year because that win got them the game here this week. So it mattered in that aspect, but when the money's on the table, Scotty, we said this, like I said to you and Gabe the other night when we were doing the game, I was like, wash away, exercise demons. That game's never going to go away. You're right when you said that to me. That 13-set game never going to go away. You got to win a Super Bowl to start forgetting about stuff like that. Like that's the only way you forget that stuff. But the only way you can do that is to finally beat them in your house. You've been waiting years to get this game in your place. Well, then go ahead and do it. All right, you got no excuse you can't beat him this week. I want to see him get it done because this next guy I'm going to show you, he's played 15 playoff games in his life, Scotty. 15 playoff games, and all of them have either been at Arrowhead or at the Super Bowl. That changes on Sunday in Orchard Park. Here's Patrick.
I hate him.
It kind of just is what it is. Obviously, I've been lucky enough to play a lot of games at home at Arrowhead Stadium. And kind of just everything's felt that way. But now we get the great opportunity to go on the road, play in a hostile environment, one that I haven't been able to play with fans in the stands. And even though I know it's going to be hostile and there are going to be people talking trash and everything like that, I'm excited for it because, I mean, it's one of the best environments in football, and you want to do that when you grow up watching these games is play in the best environments and see what it's like.
Yeah, listen, that's just a load of shack. No one, I get off on going into hostile environments. I just can't wait to experience it. Well, you know, this guy, he has had the most candy-ass red carpet career of every single game at home. Now, I'll give you credit. They earned it. They got every game at home because they won all the games. So they had a dynasty, and they got every playoff game at home. And then Super Bowls. He's never known anything except Shangri-La. Well, on Sunday night, be careful, Sonny. You might get pelted in the head with a snowball.
Yeah, I think that he's trying to get himself built up this week as one of these guys. Like you remember how like Jordan used to love going on the road because Jordan would slay it. He knew that everybody in the place hated him. You know, in the 90s, he'd go into the Garden or he'd go into Cleveland or he'd go into all these places. And he would love sticking it to all those people. Same thing with LeBron in his career. Mahomes can talk like that, like he loves this. He wants to. He's never done it, though. This is the first time he's going to get to do it. He's never had the experience of going to some place where all 70,000 people in attendance want to kill him from the moment that he walks in the building. So this is a much different scene for him this week. Yeah. He's the best. I'm sure he'll be fine. But still, it's a different environment.
I also don't think, and it's a great topic of saying, like, Jordan and whatever, going into places like the Garden and going off. When you're as great as those guys were, and Larry Bird and whoever, and you've got that down, like, it don't matter where they play, they put the ball in the hole. It does not matter. When you are that talented, you can put the ball in the hole anywhere. Do you remember in Hoosiers when they walked into the Hinkle Fieldhouse and he measured the tape up to the rim? He's like, it's the same as every gym. But you hear guys all the time, I didn't like the sight lines and the angles of the corner shots. We missed all night. We're not used to the gym. That's BS. It's the same thing, but the difference is I think it's easier in basketball when you're that good to hit a shot or dunk from anywhere. It is way harder to be a football quarterback and to go to a place like that, Orchard Park, with those drunks and angry people, and they have waited their entire life for this. They've lost 4 Super Bowls. These people don't eat. All they do is drink whiskey and show up naked and stuff. They want to kill this guy. It's way harder to pull that off than Michael Jordan hitting a jumper or dunking on somebody, or Larry Bird hitting a 3, or LeBron winning somewhere. This is way harder.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run, run, run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
Right now, he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division favorite.
I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line. only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. Like there's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
That was a wild game last night in Atlanta with the Magic and the Hawks. The problem is twofold. One, the Hawks are like the worst team against the spread in the NBA. Like they set a record for like 40 years, their futility against the number. Secondly, all I ever hear about is they're going to trade Murray. And who was the guy hitting all the shots in the game last night, Carver High, to give them that win? And who hit the game winner?
Yeah, of course it was Murray, Scotty. That's the thing. They're all talking about trading him, and yes, I'm going to give you the numbers in a moment. Historically bad against the spread through their first 40 games. But let me set this up for you first. We'll pick it up. Magic down 3 with about 20 seconds left to go. This is on Bally Sports South. What a finish between the Magic and the Hawks last night.
Back out it comes to Banchero. 7 seconds. He lets it fly, and he hits it to tie the game. Paulo Banchero with 8.4. Quinn says play on. Murray, 3 seconds, 2. DJ for the win. Got it!
Oh.
Yes.
That was huge. I mean, that game went back and forth like nobody's business. It was one huge bucket after the next between Banchero and Murray. Unbelievable.
Tremendous game indeed. Here's the Hawks numbers that I was going to give you before. 10-30 ATS through their first 40 games. That is the worst ATS record in the past 30 years after 40 games played. Historically bad going to the window.
I mean, what do you say when you see something like that? That is, absolutely ridiculous. And it just cries out that I should bet the other way.
It really should. What an awful job by them. It wasn't the only buzzer winner that we had last night. Nets and Blazers, Scotty, tied late night at the Moda in Portland. Seconds ticking away for Simons. Here we go on Root Sports Northwest.
Top of the floor. And Bridges is on him. Kamara trying to get a switch there. Simons comes out. Bridges comes out with Simons. Here is Simons for the win. Drives into the lane, running right. And Simons, the runner, .2. But the Blazers with a lead of 2, 105-103. Anthony.
Jeremy Grant had a big game. He had 30. Simons had 20. The thing that stands out to me, Mike, is how disappointing the Nets are. It really is crazy how many talented guys they have on that team that can score. I mean, Thomas, Dinwiddie, Claxton, Bridges, Johnson. They got 5 legit scorers, and yet every other game they lose. I mean, it is beyond me how they never get a run going or a winning streak. They're just flat out undependable, and I don't know how you fix it. When you have 5 guys that can score as much as those guys, what pieces do you have to go get to finally win some games?
Yeah, and listen, they started the season so well. They were exciting. They were playing great games. They were scoring a ton of points, and it's they lost Ben Simmons, Scotty. It's like, believe it or not, they really haven't been the same since Ben Simmons hasn't been there. And forget
his career's over. His career's over. They need to send him press passes to the front row of the Australian Open with a one-way ticket to Melbourne, and don't ever come back, because that guy literally blows his nose and he's out for 3 months. I mean, he has been injured. He's literally been injured for 5 years. The guy never plays, and he's just a gigantic P. For a guy that's 6'10", monster, who has all the talent in the world, the fact that he never plays in the NBA is all I need to know. Is his career is over. His career is over. He can't stay healthy for 2 days. In the last 5 years, he never plays. And the fact that they still write stories, or that I'm talking about him right now, is laughable. We have to stop talking about this candy-ass peanut brittle. He's finished. He'll never play again or matter in the NBA because he never plays.
DeAndre Ayton missed the game for the Blazers last night. He was supposed to return from injury, Scotty, but
they still won.
It was too icy. It was too icy around his house. That's why he didn't make it to the Moda last night. Nice job by your boy Ayton.
And you know what I said? So my son, my son told me, throw some salt down, Romeo. So my son told me, he said, DeAndre Ayton didn't make it to work tonight because of ice in his neighborhood. And I went like this. I went, I thought to myself for a minute, because I have early for Alzheimer's. I go, oh, you mean that big galoof? Yeah, that guy. You mean that big galoof that doesn't matter?
Him. That's for sure. The Lakers beat the Mavs 127-110. AD had a huge night, Scotty. 28, 12, and 9. Luka did come back for the Mavs. He had 35, but that was not enough.
LeBron, I thought D'Lo was better. D'Lo had his best
28,
game.
Right? 27, 28 for him. 29 for him. He was excellent. This is after the game, though. Of course, we know Bronny's playing at USC. They had the late night game as they got whacked by Arizona. They did cover, though. They got whacked by Arizona, but they did cover that 19.5. But here's LeBron afterwards talking to the reporters about the game, Scotty, and trying to watch Bronny at the same time for USC. Let's see how well he does.
You know, you have to switch up pitches. You have to change things. You know, defenses, offense is so good now that they're able to, if you show them the same, steady diet of, plays, whatever, they'll get a rhythm for that. So it's good. Pull it. Sorry. Pull it. Shoot it. Oh, good pass. Catch the ball, man.
How's Bronny looking in that game?
He's doing well.
How's USC looking?
They've been better.
They're down low.
They've been better. Now listen, I am the same way when I watch my daughter play high school basketball. I'm like, every single time, she's the only one that can score. Every time she touches the ball, I'm like, shoot it. Just shoot it. No one else can. No one can even catch the ball on her team. So I'm like, shoot it. And she's like, oh, I want to. I'm like, shoot it 30 times a game. See what happens to your game then. Because is there anything worse than watching your team? Her team's 1-20. And I'm like, who cares? Shoot it 30 times a game. Who cares anymore? Don't even wear a uniform. Show up in street clothes. Start shooting.
Just keep firing it up. Fire away. Let it go. Celtics beat the Spurs 117-98. Wembanyama did have a big night for the Spurs, even though that they got whacked.
27.
The Cavs beat the Bucks. They destroyed them also. Off night. That was a paycheck game for the Bucks, Scotty, as you always like to call it. Giannis didn't play. Randall had 31. Brunson had 30. Knicks beat the Rockets. Raptors beat the Heat 121-97. You talked about the trade with Gabe earlier. Siakam to Indiana. Bruce Brown and 3 first-round picks. Awful story, Scotty, with the Golden State Warriors. Assistant Dejan Milojevic passed away yesterday, 46 years old, from a heart attack. Of course, the Warriors were supposed to play in Salt Lake last night. They were out to dinner the night before. Just an absolutely awful situation.
Yeah, I mean, I know how he feels. Like, you see, he dropped dead of a heart attack at the dinner, and it's just like, it is no laughing matter, man. Like, when I went in there, they told me I had 30 minutes to the morgue. It was that simple. Like, the heart, you can talk about anything you want. Cancer, brutal. Heart, brutal. I mean, you got, like, you mess with the heart or the cancer, you got problems. I mean, like, real problem. My man dropped of a heart attack. No one could save him. They got him to the hospital. It was too late. It is scary stuff. You feel awful. Yeah. I was stunned, though, that they canceled tomorrow's game, too. Yeah, like, they canceled one already. Like, now they're canceling tomorrow, too.
Yeah, I got to feel, obviously, Scotty, the guys are very close with him on the team. I think it'll be a couple days, to get through services, things like that, before you see the Warriors possibly back out there. I'll give you tonight's games after you talk to Adam.
All right.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run, run, run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, we saw a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division favorite.
I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline, and I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. Like there's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, Adam Caput is our NFL insider, and he's here on a Thursday to start off by breaking down the decision in Dallas to keep Mike McCarthy.
That was a stunner. I got to tell you, I was not expecting this. Whether it's Bill Belichick or somebody else, you have to look at, Ferrall, the situation with Jerry Jones, who's 81 years old.
Right.
The feeling around the league was that he would move towards somebody else who could get him closer to getting that ring, getting them back to the championship game and winning for the first time since 1995, but that didn't happen. He fooled a lot of people. There were a lot of people around the league thought for sure he was going to do something. It doesn't mean there won't be some adjustments to the coaching staff, but Mike McCarthy is coming back for the final year of his 5-year contract. No, it has nothing to do with, he doesn't want to pay him. That has nothing to do with it, as I understand it. He has this belief, and despite people saying he's not patient, you remember year after year, the final 2 or 3 years under Jason Garrett, everyone's like, this is it. Garrett's getting canned, and he wasn't canned. And he and Jason Garrett, yes, go back a long time, but this one is surprising. I was not expecting that. There have been 2 surprises in this coaching cycle. Mike Vrabel getting canned, and there were some philosophical differences between Mike Vrabel and the Titans owner. And this one to me, floored a lot of people I spoke with. But again, Jerry Jones, Ferrall, is a patient guy, more patient than you think, despite his advanced age.
I mean, honestly, he talked about his success in the playoffs in McCarthy's career, obviously with Green Bay. I don't know what that has to do with his failures in Dallas. If he's so good at winning in the postseason, then how come he can't win in the postseason? If he's so good at winning in the regular season and winning division titles and winning 12 games, how come he can't win? They went into the game, I said this earlier on the show, they went into the game bragging how they were going to have 2 home games before the NFC title game on the road, and they couldn't even win a wild card game at home. Again, 29 years of utter disastrous failure, and they're sitting here saying they think what they're doing is successful. I mean, I must be tripping.
Let me give you another nugget here. Here's the thing that I do a training camp tour every year, and I was talking to a general manager in August, and he said, we were talking about Dallas because the roster is stacked. He said, because he asked me where I'd gone. I said, I was an auction with the Cowboys. He goes, what do you think of their team? I go, look great. He goes, well, if you look at their roster, they go for the flash. They go for the high-level talented players, but they strike out sometimes on football character. Look at how many mistakes a lot of the players made on both sides of the football, not just one side, both sides on offense and defense. And there are issues with football character, always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Ferrall. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it. It's performing at the highest level and executing when you're supposed to and doing your job, not somebody else's, and being where you're supposed to be and staying within the team concept. This is why they're not going to win with this roster. It's not going to happen.
I got to tell you, when it was 27-0 and they showed CeeDee Lamb's face, and his eyes, it was written all over his face that they were finished for the day. There wasn't going to be any comeback. He was done trying. Let's start with Saturday's games. Texans, Ravens in the Charm City should be a good one in Baltimore.
It should be. Now, here's the good thing. The weather that we're getting tomorrow, it's going to clear up. It'll be in the mid-20s. Wind won't be much of a factor. Now, remember with C.J. Stroud, his first game as a professional was in week 1 at Baltimore. He had the one turnover that it was a fumble, but he didn't throw an interception. They come in here fairly healthy except for one issue. They're very banged up. They're down 2 receivers now. Noah Brown was their top backup. He's out. Let's take a look at John Mechie, the second-round pick, if you remember from a couple years ago. He battled leukemia. He's very healthy now. He's a prominent role. He played a lot of snaps last week. He'll play a lot this week. And Robert Woods will be their third receiver. He's more of their They're movable, like their Z receiver. He could line up inside or outside. But it all goes through. There's no question Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz at tight end. And for the Ravens now, this is big. And Marlon Humphrey, their best corner, is out with his calf injury. He's been dealing with this thing for several weeks. He played late in the season. He came back too soon, maybe. He's not going to play. That would be a concern. We'll talk more about the matchup tomorrow for the Ravens. But the bottom line is Humphrey's not going to play. I get why they're the favorite that they are. They're clearly the better team. But who thought the Texans would be here? And C.J. Stroud, who I voted for yesterday as my offensive rookie of the year. I also voted for D'Amico Ryans as my head coach of the year, the coach of the year over Kevin Stefanski, because it's about expectations for Ferrall. Nobody thought the Texans could make the playoffs probably outside their building.
Yeah, and I thought he put a stake through his heart last week with the performance against Cleveland at NRG in Houston. I don't care where they played the game. The Texans beat their ass. All right, Packers-Niners at Stonewashed Denim Jeans on Saturday night.
Yeah, Levi's, by the way, it is going to rain. As of now, it looks like it's going to rain, but the wind will not be a factor at all. As we've seen this season in particular, you could throw in the rain. Teams could put up points in the rain, so I don't worry about it. Now, the one concern for me is Ferrall. A.J. Dillon with his neck injury, he's not going to play. The thing is, though, with A.J. Dillon, if they could get a lead, that's where you want to run the football and let him pound the rock a little bit, so that does concern me. Other than that, the other one is Jair Alexander. With the shoulder injury, and then he's got the ankle injury, which he had last week. He was awesome. I know we were critical of him, but he was awesome last week. And he re-injured that ankle, so it's something to keep an eye on. For the Niners, I'm told they're going to have every starter available except for one guy, Cleveland Ferrall. Cleveland Ferrall, if you might remember, was a reach for the Raiders as a first-round pick many years ago. So Chase Young, who they made the trade for at the trade deadline, he'll start there. McCaffrey's fine with his right calf injury. Everything's going to be good to go for the Niners. And that game, though, Ferrall, I could tell you, when Jordan Love is playing at this elite level, he gives any team a chance. He's playing outstanding football right now.
It's awful listening to the broadcasters mispronounce my cousin's name, Cleveland Ferrall. They call him Ferrall. You got to get that right. It's a big game for him this weekend. I'm rooting for my cousin. All right, Sunday, Bucks and Lions. I'll be working that game. By the way, I'm doing the Texans-Ravens game with Joe Ranieri 4 to 8 on Saturday. Sunday in-game live, I'm on 3 to 6:30 with Morency. We're doing the Bucks and Lions game, and that one's at Ford Field.
Yeah, and by the way, they did play earlier this season, and the Bucks at home played poorly. And Baker Mayfield played poorly that game. Now, he has rib and ankle injuries. The ribs injury is about 3 weeks old. He's been able to get through that. He didn't get hit last week against Philly, who played terrible defense. The ankle is the new one, which he had 2 weeks ago, but he was able to get through that game fine. He took all his reps. He's good to go. They've got a couple guys on defense who are a little bit banged up, but they're expecting just about all their starters for this game. The Lions, Sam Laporta, this is huge. He came through the game with that left knee hyperextension and a bone bruise. He's good to go. He should play more than he did last week, and he played quite a bit. He should move better than he did. Remember, he had that catch in the back of the end zone. Yeah. So that's good. And it is remarkable to me that they're getting two home games in a row as a number 3 seed. That never happens. Very rare that it happens. They come in pretty healthy, and they absolutely smoke the Bucks back all the way back in week 6 in Tampa. And I get why they're 6.5-point favorite. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But the Lions played that was one of the best games this season. I love it when there are no turnovers. But the one thing that concerns me, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow, is the Lions secondary. And by the way, they had 4 starters out. This is how impressive their win was at Tampa in week 6. The Lions had 4 starters out in that game, and they still smoked the Bucks.
How about this? If Green Bay upsets San Francisco at Levi's, the Lions beat Tampa, hypothetically, on Sunday, then the Lions would have the NFC Championship game as well as a number 3 seed at Ford Field. All right, let's look at the big one that everybody's talking about, the Chiefs and Bills at Highmark in the Below.
Yeah, the only injury for Ferrall that of note here is starting D tackle Derek Nottie with it's got like an elbow triceps injury. They're going to see what he can do tomorrow. Now, in the first matchup earlier this season in week 14, and one of the reasons why the Bills did as well as they did is the Chiefs couldn't run the ball. When they wanted to run it, Isaiah Pacheco did not play. That was huge. They could not run the ball to save their life. Pacheco's been really good this season. Former 7th-round pick who came out of nowhere last season out of Rutgers, did a great job. He's fine. He's not even on the injury report. But for the Bills, they are so banged up, Ferrall. This is what concerns me. We'll talk more about this tomorrow, which is their last day of practice. But they've got 5 guys hurt in their back 7. 3 out of the 4 linebackers are hurt. That does concern me. One of their corners, Benford, who starts at one of the corner spots, that worries me with a knee injury. It is really hard when you're banged up. They don't have a great depth at linebacker. So that's going to worry me for this matchup. And when you look at the line here, I get why the Bills are a favorite here. I'm not disputing that they should be. But here's the thing. Saturday is expected to snow. It's not on Sunday. You saw, though it was cold, it did not snow, and there was very little wind. With the Chiefs, they threw the ball 41 times last week when people thought they couldn't do that. They'll be passing in this game. I'm not worried about it. As long as it doesn't snow or snow badly. Right now, it's not expected to. It's expected to snow Saturday. In fact, the Bills put out the message within the last 20 minutes. They need shovelers to shovel the snow out Saturday. But on Sunday, right now, it's going to be okay for passing the football.
What about the middle linebacker, Ferrall Bernard? Will he be out with his problems? He got injured in that game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, in fact, he didn't finish. He's got a right ankle injury. He's very questionable to play. Gabe Davis, by the way, I should mention the one injury on offense. It looks bad for him. He's more to the doubtful side with that PCL grade 1, as I understand it. You saw Khalil Shakir. I know you guys were talking about the prop last week. Shakir is a really good player. What they love about him is they cross-train him to play inside and outside. And remember, Gabe Davis is not signed next season. He's a free agent. So that's one thing. Khalil Shakir could replace him.
Otherwise known as our boy Tupac Shakir with a big touchdown against the Steelers. All right, tomorrow, a double shot with Adam, including his bust a cap in your ass division semifinal spread picks. Everybody will be lining up for that. We'll see you tomorrow, Adam. Great stuff.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
Right now, he's all a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division favorite.
I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. Like there's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
BetMGM's getting ready for big game 58. Bet $5, get $158 instantly with the bonus code SG158. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android, or go to BetMGM.com. Sign up, deposit at least $5 into your account. Place a wager of at least $5 at standard odds price. Once you place the bet, you're going to receive $158 back in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your wager. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened. Once they started giving out $158 for $5 bet, people stopped going to the pool at the BetMGM Sportsbook, from the pool into the, right out at the resort where Carver High and I like to hit the hot tub and go to the foldable pools and the River of Love. All that shut down when they started giving away the money. People just don't care about the pool anymore when, people are handing out free cash.
Everybody loves free cash. There's no question about that. I still am going to use some as the golf gets just tougher and tougher for me over here on an opening round Thursday. Zach Johnson, Scotty, in the lead at the Amex, shooting a 10 under 62, fresh off of his embarrassing performance as the Ryder Cup captain in Rome, of course, over the fall. So Zach Johnson back in the mix here, playing some good golf out at La Quinta to start the weekend. We have NBA tonight. 5 games for you on a Thursday. Why don't we start at the Garden, where the Knicks are home once again? Home last night, they beat the Rockets. Now tonight, they get the 7-32 Wizards at the Mecca. 11.5 the Knicks are laying. 234.5 is the total.
I mean, every time the Knicks play the Wizards, they beat the snot out of them. It's just that simple. This is a show-off game tonight at the world's most famous.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're going to lay it with the Knicks tonight, minus the 11.5. They'll probably take them to the woodshed. The Bulls are in Toronto against the Raptors. Raptors last night, Scotty, absolutely pummeled the Heat, and that was after trading Siakam in the afternoon. They're getting 2.5 at home tonight. 227.5 is the total.
Yeah, I would think that the Bulls will puke this up, and the Raptors will win this game at home tonight as well. If they score anywhere near what they did last night, I think they'll cover the 2. They're getting 2 as a home dog. Put up $121 last night. Look, I'm going with them again. Why not?
The Thunder, coming off losing both games in Los Angeles to the Lakers and the Clippers, now stop in Utah on their way home. They're 3.5-point road favorites. Jazz have been playing very good. They won 9 out of 10, I believe. 3.5 for the Thunder, 244.5, a heavy total tonight.
I mean, this one's hard because the way Utah's playing, but I still have a problem with it because I just think Shai Gilgeous and the Thunder are so much better than them and everybody. I love this team, and I love betting on them. I like OKC.
The Grizzlies are in Minnesota tonight against the Timberwolves, minus 12.5 for the T-Wolves. 214.5 is the total.
They couldn't cover 12.5 the other night against the Pistons. And I know that was in Detroit. I don't care. This one's at home. I'm going to be I think the T-Wolves are going to win. I don't think they're going to cover.
I don't think they're going to cover either. I like the under in that game also, Scotty, even though it's a little low. I think that they're going to stay underneath it. It is. That's the second game of the TV doubleheader tonight. And finally, I actually think this should be the second game of the TV doubleheader because I think it's a hell of a lot better than the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves, and that's the Pacers and the Kings in Sacramento. Kings minus 8.5, 245.5 is the total.
I like the over.
Me too. I don't mess around, And look, these Indiana games with Halliburton out of the lineup, have started to trend under a little bit. They're not going over at the rate that they were throughout most of the season. But when you're playing a team like the Kings, Scotty, who also like to go up and down, I got no problem with the
Is
over
this guy
tonight.
going to play tonight, Siakam?
That I am not sure about. We will have to effort that right now and see if he is. I don't see why not, right? I mean, the trade happened yesterday. Why wouldn't we get Siakam in the mix here? Out, Scotty. I have that word right here. Out. No Siakam for the Pacers tonight.
Then I don't really like their chances. No Halliburton, no Siakam. I don't like their chances, and I take that back. I don't see them being able to hold up their end of the bargain for the over.
Yeah, they got a lot of guys questionable, too. Nembhard, Mathurin, Toppin.
All right, I'll take the Kings, -8.
Let's take the Kings. There's a lot of injury issues there for the Pacers and guys not available. All right, so there you go, 5 games in the NBA. How about college rack tonight? There's been some great games the last few nights, Scotty. UConn beat Creighton last night. LSU beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss had been having a great year. They finally got picked off 89-80. Houston beat Texas Tech. Arizona beat USC, but they did not cover that 19.5 as they won by 15. And how about UCF, Scotty? They beat Kansas last week, go to Texas, and beat the Longhorns last night. Pretty good start for them in the Big 12.
Beat them by 6. I had the 8.5. I also hit Rutgers in overtime. And the best bet I had of the night was I hit Maryland in 4.5 at Northwestern, and they lost by 3, but covered in Evanston. So last night was profitable on FerrallOnTheBench.com. I've been putting up a lot of college rack plays and hitting them.
I was on the Terps as well. That was a nice cover for them there in Evanston. All right, here we go. Tonight's action. Minnesota visits Sparty at Michigan State tonight in the Big Ten. USF is at Memphis. Memphis has been playing very well. We have Wichita State and FAU in the American, Illinois and Michigan, a short number there, and Oregon State and Utah to start you off on the first board.
Yeah, I mean, these games are crazy. Look, I think Illinois wins at Chrysler. I think Utah will handle their business at home. I'm going to be leery of that big fat number with FAU against Wichita because they haven't been covering or playing well, the Owls. I think Memphis covers. Michigan State will win at the Breslin. Will they cover 11.5? My guess is yes. They're tough to beat in East Lansing.
I know Michigan hasn't been great this year, Scotty, but I kind of like them as the home dog tonight with that 2.5 with Illinois. I know Illinois has been a lot better than them. I'm going to take my shot there with them. All right, Washington and Cal. A lot of Pac-12 for you here tonight on a Thursday. Gonzaga, who has not been, this is not the typical Gonzaga team. They're at Pepperdine tonight, laying a number on the road. Oregon and Colorado, Washington State and Stanford. And I always like to throw you at least one Big West game. How about a good one with UC San Diego and the Anteaters of Irvine getting involved tonight?
Yeah, I like Irvine at home. And listen, I bet Stanford. I bet Cal. I think Cal will upset Washington in Berkeley. I got it at -1, and I got Stanford at -2.5. I took Oregon in 6.5. Gonzaga beat Pepperdine at home in Spokane by 26. Cut it in half. I still think they covered a 12 and a hook. Most people think it's going to be a 13-point game. I still think Gonzaga will beat them between 17 and 20 points. I want to give you 2 other ones that are juicy, Mike, that nobody else knows about. Green Bay against Wright State. Take the 10 or more points with Green Bay on the road. And my other favorite one, North Dakota State at home with the 2.5. I've been looking at that game all day. North Dakota State has been awful. Now, go figure, I can't find it on the board. Against Denver. Denver's 11-7. ND State laying 2.5, 3 at home. It's got everyone and their brother betting on Denver written all over it. North Dakota State will upset them at home.
How about that? Going deep for the Summit tonight, too. I like it. Going thick down into the mid-majors for college hoops tonight. How about hockey?
Everybody loves hockey.
Everybody does love hockey. I'll try tomorrow to give you the best and the worst against the spread, but I have to get to tonight's games now, including starting with a big one in Boston, Scotty. How about 2 of the best in the league? The Avalanche into Beantown to take on the Bruins here tonight. Bruins minus $1.50 now. Avalanche plus $1.25, 6.5 the total. You don't get the Avalanche at that price too often, Scotty. I know that's a tough place to win, but that's very juicy with Colorado.
Well, I'll tell you what, I bet the over in this game, and that's it, over 6.5. The Avalanche can clearly win this game. Boston doesn't lose on home ice. I can see why people would bet Boston at minus $1.45, but I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
I like it. Dallas is in Philadelphia against the Flyers. Flyers have played well. Dallas has, of course, been very good all year. Dallas the favorite on the road, minus 135. Flat 6 the total here.
Well, if the Flyers want to beat the Stars, they got to stop them from scoring. So I like the bet of under 6 at even money.
I like that. There you go. A little under tonight. I could see that, absolutely. Rangers and the Knights in Vegas at the T-Mobile. I'll feature you a late night game here just after 10 East puck drop. Minus 130. Rangers the road favorite in Vegas. Plus $1.10 for the Knights. Flat 6 again here.
Have some stones. Rangers on the streets. On the money line, minus $1.30. I bet it.
It's been tough, man. The Knights just, they played great hockey for the first 2 months of the season, and they have been awful now for the last month and a half.
What a shame.
Cannot get anything going. What a shame after winning the Cup a year ago. All right, here's the rest. Montreal. How about Montreal winning last night at the Rock against the Devils, Scotty? What price did you get Montreal at last night?
180.
At the Rock?
I hit it at 180.
180 hit.
Plus 180, I hit it.
They're in a back-to-back.
Mafia's my witness.
They are in Ottawa against the Senators. Minnesota is in Tampa Bay tonight. St. Louis is in Washington. Chicago and Buffalo were supposed to play last night. Snowed in. They'll try again tonight in Buffalo.
All right, here's the bet. The Lightning minus the goal and a half at plus 180. Again, going for the big ticket. After last night, Montreal winning that game against the Devils on the coffee will go with 4.5 left. They'll lose tonight in Ottawa. I like the Capitals at home. Obviously, I like the Sabres at home. And I wanted to throw one other one at you, Mike, from college basketball that I forgot to throw out there. A little Wisconsin, Green Bay, and Wright State over $1.50 at minus 110. No real juice problems there. Over $1.50 in that game.
Hey, a little horizon also. I love it when we go deep into the mid-major packet here tonight on Ferrall on the bet. Rest of the hockey here. Toronto is in Calgary against the Flames. Seattle, Edmonton, and the Oilers. Nashville and the Kings. I know Gabe was telling you about that one earlier. And Arizona in Vancouver tonight. The Canucks, Scotty, they never lose, the Canucks. They've been playing great.
Yeah, I like Vancouver at home. I know that Gabe's all over the LA Kings. I think they've been awful. I'll take Nashville there. I think Edmonton and the Kraken score a ton of goals tonight. I like the over and the Oilers to win. And how about a little spice here? The Flames at Saddle Dome upset the Leafs, and then everybody goes down to Cowboys and picks up chicks they don't know their name.
I don't have a problem with that. Can we get over as well while the Flames win? Can we get like a little 5-3 Flame win, something like that? Go over that 6.5 while we're at it, because that would be kind of nice. I like the over in that Toronto-Calgary game. There you go. We got it all in. All the hockey, all the college hoops. We even gave you a horizon.
One other one tonight, Mike. I forget who they're playing. Bet Stephen F. Austin minus the 5 tonight in college rack.
Oh, wow. How about that? SFA as well on the card. There you go. Good night on the hoops.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run, run, run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. Like there's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
Sports Rage Late Night. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Yeah, that Stephen F. Austin playing Seattle. Can we throw in a Winthrop and a Long Beach State cover tonight as well, Carver High? Ferrall finish. ACC court filing accuses Florida State of breach of contract. Everybody's suing everybody. Amazon to invest in the Diamond Sports Group as part of the bankruptcy deal. They're taking over all the regional sports networks. Amazon, they'll have the games on Prime. Mets are going to retire Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry's numbers this summer. Every fan in attendance will get a free 8-ball. Colts owner Jim Irsay in December was found unresponsive at his home. They're saying the Popo and EMTs that he had a drug overdose. Oh, heaven forbid. James Dolan accused of alleged sexual assault in a new lawsuit. He denies everything, and he says that his band is fantastic. Writer Mike Dixon at 59 dies while covering the Australian Open. Remember when Grant Wall died covering the World Cup? What's with reporters going to these events and dying? At least I'm not going to the Super Bowl. Hopefully I won't die in Vegas. Missouri Catholic priest found guilty of soliciting sex during confession. Your boy trying to cop a feel during confession. What is happening here? Elon Musk's drug use has executives at his companies concerned. Oh, have a sandwich. Texas man locked a woman in his garage and then drugged her and assaulted her for years. Nashville man admits to killing his wife with a hammer on New Year's Day and then burying her in the backyard, a la Wayne Gacy. Get the whole backyard going. Pour a little cement. The world's first pickleball stadium is opening in Fort Lauderdale. Carver High and I are planning to start a team of he and I against the world. A Missouri teacher slapped with rape charges after having sex with a teen while using other students as lookouts. How about this? The boy's dad was also arrested for allowing the relationship. Jesus, I have seen it all. GTD is next. Go to FerrallOnTheBench.com. Get the Ferrall plan. Everybody's doing it. They just won't admit it. Enjoy all the games tonight. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 o'clock, coast to coast. Good night.